We have way too many tabs open inside of our brains to the point where we're not getting anything actually done. We're just overly consumed by the thought of how much we have to do. And it's interesting because with the advancement of technology, we have a lot more tools at our disposal, yet we are a lot less productive than we used to be, at least in my opinion, because I think now we have, all the AI, the software, the devices to help us be more productive, to help us get our goals accomplished. Yet we're not really focusing on any one task at a time for a long period because we're distracted easily by all of the tools that we have access to. We've gotten to a point now where the smallest task, it feels like, a lot of people just can't get done. Like they just simply just can't focus. And whether we're going to blame that on short form content or social media and this like short attention span, whatever it is, the fact is that people are easily distracted now where they can't work for longer than an hour on one simple task. They have to pick up their phone. They are overly consumed with everything else that they have going on. They're distracted by life stressors and they can't accomplish their goals because there's so much else that they are worried about. Someone recently contacted me and they said, hey, I need to make some money and I want to get into real estate. And I asked them what's your timeline? What are you looking to do? How much do you have? What's the goals here? And pretty much the goal was just, I want to make money. So I gave them step A through Z on what to do, what to expect, and how long it could take based on what you are trying to accomplish. And check back in periodically, let's say for 6 months to a year on where you are. They are in no better position than when they first started almost 2 years ago. Problem is they can't focus on one simple task. And I would think that the situation is like isolated, but it's not. That I've come across this quite a few times, and it's not necessarily their fault. No, let's be honest, it is. And I think that our brains are similar to computers. It's not a one-to-one, but just how we learn and process information, there's correlations there, right? When you're looking to buy a new device, a new phone, a new computer, there is a few things that you look at, right? Style of it, what your preference is. But one of the main things is how much storage does it have? 256 gigabytes, 512, maybe a terabyte, and you buy it based on how much storage you think you need. And when you get this phone, you have the fresh new device, a clean slate to do whatever you want with, and immediately the phone is performing its best. It's a blank slate. There's nothing on the device. The battery life is amazing. It takes pictures perfectly. It opens up quickly. All the things you need. Then what happens eventually is that we load it up with a lot of stuff. So pictures, videos, because we have the space for it. A ton of files added to the phone. And then eventually it gets to capacity or close to it where it starts slowing down. The battery starts to become drained quicker. And then it becomes unorganized. You can't find the files you need because you have so many. And then it becomes at capacity where now you can't take new photos. You can't take new videos because you don't have any more space. So you're forced to delete stuff to make room for new information. And sometimes you have to delete stuff that you don't necessarily want to actually delete. Inside of our brains, we're not actively deleting anything, right? We're not intentionally going in and say, I'm going to forget about this so I can now store this new information that I want to think about. No, but best believe that we do bury the information, which is why you get triggered by events where it's going to be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that thing. And you remember it when you're talking to someone else. But at the time, that thing was important and it was on the forefront of your mind. Yet now it's an afterthought because there's other things that came up during that time where it's like, okay, I need to put this on the back burner because I need to focus on something else. And that never stops happening. And we have to figure out like, what do we do instead of that so that we're not distracted by everything else going on? And yes, there's going to be things that you have to focus on, right? There's relationships, there's business, there's work, there's your goals, there's family, there's your kids, pets, whatever it is. There's so much going on in your life that you have to focus on more than one thing. But I do not believe that we are really that capable of multitasking. I think it's a myth. It is the myth of multitasking. It is the fake productivity that they are selling you. It is not true. You need to focus on a few things or one thing at a time to get anything done. And what usually happens is you're providing a ton of attention to multiple tasks, thinking that you're being more efficient, but you're not really being more efficient. You're actually having subpar performance across the board because nothing is actually getting done and you're giving half the energy to a bunch of tasks when you could be giving 80% of energy to one task or 90% of energy to one task. And you feel like you're being less efficient because you should be working on multiple things at one time because you have the ability to, right? You have the access to, you have all the tools needed, but you're not making any progress. Instead, what happens at the end of the day is you're not physically exhausted, but you're mentally exhausted. You're mentally exhausted not because you actually did anything, but the thought of doing task number 2, 3, 4, and 5 when you haven't even started with task number one has become exhausting. So then you just become overwhelmed with the thought of what you need to do versus what you have to do right in front of you right now. And it's so crazy because we have all these tools now. We have ChatGPT, obviously Google. We have all these devices in our pocket where like we can search something instantly. No more going to the library and looking up a topic to research on it and then going back home to write a paper. We could do things literally in a split second, whatever we think of. Yet how are we less productive? How are we not accomplishing our goals? And I think we're not accomplishing our goals because we have access to so much. Because we feel that we have everything at our disposal, it is probably promoting the idea of less performance because we feel like, oh, I could do it at any time or I could get the answer this easily. So we lost the value of sitting with a task just for one short period of time. I recently bought the sand timer, and it's just a manual process, right? Where you flip it over and then the sand drains to the bottom half of it for a specific period of time, and that lets you know how much time has passed. And obviously we could do this a lot of different ways now, right? We have our phone, we can set a timer, we can look at the clock and just say, okay, give myself an hour, give myself 30 minutes, and then I know I've been doing a certain task for this amount of time. But the thing about this being manual is it removes all the distractions if you are really gonna focus on one task. I can't speed this up. The sand is gonna move no matter how much I shake it. It's not gonna promote any more sand going to the bottom, and if I flip it over, I'm starting all over again. I don't know how much time has passed just by looking at the sand. This is a total of 30 minutes, and the interesting thing about this is whenever I really want to focus on a task, I start it over and then I work on a task. And what I'll usually find is, let's say I'm editing a video, I will look back up and it's still going, and it's only 30 minutes. And I accomplished a lot of the editing the video, but it skews, or it let me realize my perception of what time really is. Because traditionally what will happen is you're working on something and you pick up your phone, you watch a YouTube video, you turn on TV, you go talk to someone, you take a phone call, and so much time has passed and you're like, how come I didn't get anything done on the task editing of this video, working on this script? And it's because you were doing a whole bunch of other things that had you distracted. Meanwhile, 30 minutes is a decent amount of time. And it's not to say that you have to focus on something for 3 hours and accomplish a task. No, but have designated time to focus on something. So I would realize that I'm focused on this, editing this video, for example, and I've edited for, like what felt like 2 hours, and I got a lot done. Meanwhile, the timer is still going. Meanwhile, on the flip side of that is I'm editing, I'm so locked in that I look up and I don't realize how much time has passed because the timer is done. I don't know when the 30 minutes ended, which is great because then it's more rewarding afterwards as well because I know I logged in for at least 30 minutes. And it doesn't seem like a long time, but it's a long time if you're focusing on one simple task. And I highly recommend that. And they have apps, right? And new tech that you could use to do the same type of time blocking. I never used it before, so I can't validate how good it is, but things like I've seen advertisements for brick. You could brick your phone and you can't do anything at all for a set period of time. Yeah, it sounds cool, but this, I don't know how much brick costs, but I'm thinking this is a lot cheaper and a lot less friction because it sits on my desk. It's a conversation piece. I just flip it over and I start and I go. Also, the thing about the phone, when you're setting a timer on the phone, is that it's your phone. That is one of the main distractions. It's similar to if you have a computer open, right? Or you have your phone and your web browser, you have a bunch of tabs open. Or old tabs, 30, 40 tabs of things that you wanted to purchase, outfits you wanted to wear, destinations that you wanted to visit, things you wanted to research, videos that you wanted to watch. And you just continue to add tab after tab after tab, thinking that you're going to get back to the old tabs. But you never really do. You just continue to add new tabs and tell yourself that eventually I'm going to get to those old tabs that I opened up 6 months ago. And you don't. And the interesting part is that I had the same experience where I had a phone and I had a bunch of tabs, over 100 tabs open. They're all important. You're saying like, no, I need to keep these tabs open because at one point I was looking something up and I'm going to get back to it. And then my phone crashes. Nothing crazy, but it crashes to the point where any of the tabs that I had open in that web browser are gone. And the funny thing is, I don't remember 80% of the tabs that I had open. So were they really that important? Were they really that point? Do you really need them? The best thing is starting fresh and you have one tab open and you always tell yourself, okay, I'm going to keep it clean this time, right? Focus on that one thing. Just focus on the one thing and complete the task fully. And you may not be able to complete every task fully, but get as far as you can with that task before starting on 3 different other projects. And I think there's ways to do this, right? There's ways to do it, and it's not simply just the task that's in front of you, there's ways to do it where it becomes baked into your lifestyle. There are a few solutions to this, which is not necessarily related to the task that's right in front of you. One is creating routines around what you are doing, whether that's a time of day or a specific task. And for me, what works is routines around times of day, because I am very high energy in the morning and I'm very high energy in the evening. During the middle of the day, I don't know why, but I lack the energy I need to really complete a task. It's like things will just not get done. But in the morning and at night, I'm on go. So I've created routines around that to help me become more productive. One of the things I've done is I've made a conscious effort to not look at my phone when I first wake up. I don't want to be consumed or clouded by the thoughts of others immediately on the wake up when I haven't even thought for myself. Imagine this, right? And I want you to really think about this, because I used to be guilty of this as well, right? I would wake up and the first thing I would do is check my phone and check the emails app. I wanted to see what emails came in from the previous day that I missed I needed to respond to. And for some people, maybe they wake up and they check social media, YouTube, Instagram, and they see what other people are doing. Before you've even really gotten up, you are already being clouded by the thoughts and ideas of other people. So you're getting inbound messages of what people are trying to sell to you via email. You're getting inbound messaging of what people are doing with their lives on social media. And you haven't even thought for yourself yet as far as what the day is going to be like. Your perception of the day is already skewed because it's not yours, it's someone else's. I no longer want to have the thought of anyone else prior to me having my own thoughts. And just like what I want to do for the day versus being influenced literally by what someone's trying to sell me, what someone is doing with their life, what someone has going on, what they messaged me about, or what they didn't message me about before I start my day. And create a morning routine. So for the last couple of months, what I do is I wake up and I'm not looking at the phone. I'm not even looking at what time it is. My goal is I wake up, I'm praying, and then I'm gonna wash up, wash my face, get ready, and I'm going outside for a walk. 30 minutes to 45-minute walk with my own thoughts as far as what I want to do for the rest of the day, what I have planned out for the day, and what I need to do for the rest of the day. Now, granted, if you don't have the luxury where you are able to do that because you have a 9-to-5 or you have other obligations, you have children, family, there are other ways around it, right? Just coordinate your day so that it could benefit you. And it doesn't have to be that much time. Maybe you have to have an alarm to wake you up, or you have to look at your phone, but like, Don't log in. Don't open Slack and Teams message when you start work at 9 a.m. and you're opening your Slack and your Teams message at 7 a.m. Why? You've convinced yourself that you need to do that, but you don't really need to do that. And let's say that you do have a 9-to-5. Maybe you could wake up 10 to 15 minutes earlier and you could enjoy that coffee or tea in the morning in peace versus chugging it down on the way out the door in the car before you get to work. That sets a tone for how the rest of your day is going to go. Wake up 10 to 15 minutes earlier. That way you are sitting with your coffee or your tea in peace versus just like on go 24/7. So you could think for a moment. Give yourself a little bit of time just to declutter everything else going on so you could start the day properly. You need to have some form of routine and just some form of familiarity, just a process in general to get you on track, because you're always on go. You're always like moving from one task to the next task to the next task, trying to complete one thing to the next thing to the next thing and getting nothing done. It seems hectic and chaotic. And I've been there, mind you. And just like, here's an update, like the sand timer is still going. And look at all the sand at the top, right? And I've been talking consistently, but not that much time has actually passed, really. It's just almost like an illusion when you're really focused on one task. And my one task is just getting this thought out of my brain regarding how unproductive and how distracted we are as a society based on everything that's around us. Let's go back to the analogy of like when our brains are similar to computers, right? And there's two things that really happen when a device is, let's say, at capacity because of the storage. Number one, you have too many apps open at one time on any device, your computer or your phone, it starts to run a lot slower. You have your editing software, you have CapCut, Final Cut open, you have YouTube, all Instagram, TikTok open at the same time, you have Safari open, you're making a beat, you're writing a script, Pages open, files, all these things, messaging app, photos, everything open at the same time running. What happens is the performance slows down. It doesn't operate as quickly as it used to operate because you have so many things running in the background. The second thing that happens is the battery drains a lot quicker. And I think both of these correlate to how we operate as humans in general. There is no way that you could perform at a high level if you have a bunch of other tasks on your plate or you're thinking about a bunch of other things at one time. It's impossible. It's literally impossible. There's no way you could focus on everyone and everything at the same time and expect to pour into everyone and everything at the same time. You have so many things on your plate, so many things going on in your mind that now you can't really think and you're tired. tired just at the thought of everything else. In the morning when I go for a walk, I also go without my phone. Not only do I wake up, not look at my phone, just, get ready and then go outside, I go outside without my phone. I don't even know what time it is. I wake up usually around, 6 a.m. I don't look at the phone. I go outside, I go for a walk, and I'm walking for maybe 30, 45 minutes. To be honest with you, I don't know. And when I get back inside, then I look at the clock and I see what time it is. And it might be, a little bit after 7 or so. So I have an idea of roughly how long I've been walking. But during that time, I have no phone. I have no distractions. I'm only seeing what's outside, whether that's people, cars driving, and I'm with my own thoughts. It gives me an idea as far as what I want to do with the rest of the day, how I want to perform, and my task, versus looking at a device and getting inbound direction for what you should be doing that day. We all have responsibilities that we have to do, right? So it's not going to look exactly the same as me, and what I do for my routine, but you can set up your routine the way you want to benefit you so that you're not overwhelmed at the start of the day, because you're waking up being overwhelmed immediately, and you have these goals that you want to accomplish, and you're wondering why they're not getting accomplished. Is because you can't focus on it. You can't focus on it. You can't even give 30 minutes to it. Give that goal 15 minutes, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually have to actively work on it every day. Let's say you have a large goal and your goal is to buy a house. Break that goal down to smaller tasks that you can focus on. You're not going to accomplish all major goals in one single day, but you can start to work on it little by little. And that's the point, to set designated time without distractions, to focus just on one task, to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this one thing. And I suggest writing it down on paper. It doesn't matter how simple it is, doesn't matter how large or small it is, but write it down on paper for what you need to work on the next day. What you are going to give yourself 15 minutes, because you're giving everyone else all the time in the world. Why not give yourself 15 minutes to accomplish what you say you want to accomplish? And for example, let's say that your goal is to buy a house. Now, you can't do that in one day. You can't do that in 1 week, but you could break that goal down into smaller tasks that you can focus on. The large picture goal is to buy a house. But in the meantime, maybe you need to gather documents. Maybe you need to gather your pay stubs and your W-2s. For your tasks, you write down, I need to print my pay stubs and print my W-2s. So for tomorrow's task, you're going to designate time, 15 minutes, to getting your pay stubs and your W-2s. And maybe that looks like emailing HR or going on the company website and just downloading it to your phone. You're going to literally block out time just to do that alone. That's going to make you so much more productive versus just going on a whim and okay, yeah, I'm going to get to it. And you never do. All right, so number one, the first thing is need to create routines. You need to create routines around your day, whether it's the time of day or when you have the most energy. For me, it's in the morning and the night. Create routines around what you want to do, when you want to do it, when you have the most energy, so you can focus. Number two, I know we have so much technology right now and we have these phones, immediate access, but write things down. Don't open up another app inside your notes, another page inside your notes app to say, okay, this is my to-do list, or get all of these productivity apps that you pay for that you barely ever open. Write it down, because once again, the phone is one of the main distractions. So you're going to go to the app, your Todoist app, your Notes app to see what needs to be done, but you're going to open something else as well. A text message is going to happen to coming at the perfect time when you're writing down what you need to do and get distracted, and 50 minutes has gone by, 50, and you haven't even started on a task yet. There's something about writing something down on paper, writing a task down, just like on a single sheet of paper, and working on that task and then crossing it off. It actually promotes productivity, in my opinion, because you feel rewarded. You feel two things. You feel like, okay, I got this done. What's next? What else can I work on next? Or what happens is you feel validated to take a break, or you feel fine to watch this TV show because you're like, I got these tasks done. If I have a bunch of tasks and then I tell myself I need to relax, I can't relax because I know I didn't get anything done. And it's not the fact that I couldn't have got the things done or I ran out of time. It's because I didn't put enough energy into getting these things done for me to feel good. It's different if you set aside 30 minutes to an hour to work on a task and you get some of it done or all of it done, and then you go get some type of entertainment afterwards. You don't feel as bad. You oh no, I didn't get everything done, but I got a good majority of it done and I was working on it and I'll work on it again tomorrow, versus you have 10 things to do and you work 10% on each of them. You don't really get anything done. And then you go watch TV or you go outside to play or have some type of entertainment. You're distracted. You're not even present in the moment of whatever you're doing because you're still focused on the 10 things that you needed to get done, and you feel some type of way about not getting anything done at all. So it actually promotes productivity to just focus on, let's say, 2 out of the 10 and dedicate a certain amount of time to those 2 tasks to then say, okay, now that I got 80% of those tasks done, or even 50% of each one done, I can reward myself with some type of entertainment afterwards. And if you really want to accomplish your goals, I can't think about a time when I was really trying to accomplish any major goal where like I was heavily distracted. Each time, whether it's buying a house, getting a car, or just meeting some type of deadline, I was so focused and locked in on what that task was every single day. And then the reward comes afterwards once you get it. And everyone around you has to understand that there's going to be seasons. Seasons when I need to work, seasons when you're going to have the most fun, seasons when, listen, this is what's in front of me right now. And this is what I need to focus on right now. It's seasons. And the season doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a long period of time. The season can be a day. Take the day for you to say, okay, I am focused on this one thing today. Today, I need to accomplish all of this. Put everything else down and just focus on this one task at a time. All right, so where are we now with the solutions, right? Number one is to create routine. Create routine around what you want to do so that you get your day started or finish your night strong and focus on these tasks. Number two is to break down these tasks and write them down on paper so you can focus on them and look at them on paper and say, okay, this is what I need to get done and this is how much time I'm setting aside to get this simple task done. Number three is going to be, you need to digitally declutter. Like, no, literally digital declutter. I want you to open up because this is where it starts, right? We have all of these distractions in place and we need to start removing them so that we can focus on what we need to focus on. If you open up your tabs on your web browser, how many tabs do you have open? I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50. And when's the last time you actually looked back at those tabs? Do you really need it? How long has it been? Has it been 6 months? Are you really going to revisit those tabs? Be honest with yourself. All of the apps on your phone, do you use all of those apps on a daily? No, I guarantee you don't. You used that at one time 7 months ago, so maybe you'll get back to it. And it's just, once again, a distraction. You just need some type of clean slate. You need to declutter your mind. And all of the tabs that you have open inside of your brain, literally, you need to remove some of those tabs as well. There's things that you have on a to-do list that you just may just require responding to a text message so that you could eliminate it. What helps for me is I will work on tasks that don't require anyone else or don't require a response for it to be completed. Because there's some tasks that you have to reach out to someone and then they have to give you a response or they need to do something, which keeps that task open. So it's just like a loop inside your brain. But there are tasks where you don't actually need anyone else to contribute to. You can just do it and then that's it. It doesn't come back. Respond to something and say, hey, this is it. This is the answer. It's not open-ended. It's done. Move on. And then you can focus on other tasks. What we need to do is create routines, write things down on a piece of paper, and break the goals down into smaller, simpler forms. Like the example I gave, if you want to buy a house, cool, that's the big goal. But the smaller goal is to get your documents together, whether that's from HR or printing your bank statements, getting your pay stubs or your W-2s. Third, you need to digitally declutter. You need to remove a lot of these distractions that you have, a lot of the apps. If you have to put a timer on your social media, whether that's 30 minutes or an hour per day for YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is, your main distraction. So when you go on your phone and you check your screen time, what are you using the most? Is it really that productive? Is it mail? Is it messaging? For me, I know like mail and messaging was like higher on the list. I have my social media set as a timer, so I can't be on there for 3 hours a day because it tells me, hey, you ran off your time. And like, are you really going to ignore the limit every single time? Ultimately, what happens when you do these things is it gives you your time back. You'll have more time to do everything else if you set time aside to focus on the important tasks, which is kind of crazy. You're giving time to something over here, or you're giving time to the main task, which is somehow going to give you more time back to yourself because you're going to actually accomplish things versus just sitting there on your table for weeks at hand. We waste so much time doing things that are unnecessary meetings to talk about a task. Like, you ever had a meeting about having a meeting? I think we've gotten to a point now where we have to remove a lot of distractions, and I want us to be better, including myself, as far as accomplishing goals, and it requires to remove distractions, whether that's people, places, or things. Getting an environment that makes you a lot more productive, or even if it doesn't make you productive, it provides less distraction. Put your phone across the room, get pieces of paper, declutter, and just focus on one simple task at a time. I really hope this helps because I want to see you do better. I want you to win. We can do better. We just need to remove the distractions. Give yourself, even if it's not a task, give yourself 30 minutes to yourself so you can focus on what you want to do. And even if it's not a main task, a main goal, give yourself 30 minutes a day so you can focus on what you want to do and not what everyone else wants you to do. Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.